What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon, and it is Wayne joining you guys again. We are back on credit, so you guys can revert to the last video to see part 1 of budgeting. This is part 2 of budgeting. So as we spoke of the last time, I'm going to go straight into it. There's 2 different types of credits. You have the installment credit, you have revolving credit. Installment credit is basically a loan for a specific amount of money that is repaid with interest through fixed monthly payments. So that would be like a car note, mortgage, if you're financing furniture. If you're financing anything, you normally pay it monthly over a period of time, and you pay them interest in order for them to loan you money, finance you for whatever it is that you need. Then you have revolving credit. Well, revolving credit is a bit different from installment credit. Revolving credit is a type of credit that can be used repeatedly up to a certain limit as long as the payments are made on time. So that's like credit cards. So for credit cards, you don't have a monthly payment unless you have used your credit card monthly. So if I use my credit card this month and I pay it off, then I won't have to worry about next month. I won't have a monthly reoccurring bill unless I've used my card and I don't pay it fully. Then I have a monthly minimum payment that I have to make. But the reason that it is, because I could pay it off whenever I want and then use it right back. And that can be for credit cards. Some banks do line of credits, which is basically a credit card without the card form. Yeah, those are the 2 different types of credits. All right. So when you're dealing with your credit, you want to make sure that we spoke last time about credit reports. And the credit report basically will show you what you have done, what you haven't done over a period of time. So you usually get a credit report once a year, but that report will report over your account. Each account reports monthly. So you should be checking your credit report. I check mine monthly. You should be checking your credit cards and your banking statement monthly. I check mine daily. So yeah, because if there are any errors or inaccuracies, those need to be disputed immediately, because you do not want them to go into effect and affect your credit. And it can take a while when having to dispute these when having these issues. So when you're disputing errors and inaccuracies, you need to have your complete name and address. You need to have a clear description of each item that you're disputing and the reason for the dispute. You should also, with having that, you should have supporting information. So if you have any receipts, if you have any copies of your receipts, account statements, screenshots of online transactions, anything that can support that was an inaccurate charge, or that anything that can support that you need to dispute that as a purchase that was an error. So you have to request for correction or removal. Just because you dispute it does not necessarily mean it's going to automatically go through. You need to call, you need to ask for them to correct the error and then remove it off of the account, because sometimes they will correct it, but they won't necessarily remove it. And you want it removed because if it's not an error on you, you don't want it to be a reflection on you as well. So your credit score is built up of Your FICO credit score is built up of 5 different factors. The main factor is the payment history. That takes 35%. That's 35% of what your actual score is made up of. So making online payments on time, that affects your credit the most, the payment history. If it's on time and if you're doing it as you should be doing it. Credit utilization is 30% of what affects your credit score. So you should be keeping your card, as I told you previously, you should be keeping your card between 10% and 30% of utilization. Never should it go above 30% if possible. And when I say till 30%, so when your card reports, even if you need to use it during the month, you need to pay it down to at least a 30%. So when it reports that it's only at a 30% utilization and that it's not over 30%, because that's 30% of what affects your credit score. 15% of the credit of your FICO score is the length of your credit history. So the longer your credit history is, the better it looks. If you have a short credit history, you don't have too much, they don't have too much reliability that you will, or you don't have too much credibility that you will pay your stuff because they don't know you that long. You don't have a long length of credit history. So the longer the credit history, the more credible you are that you will make your payments and that they will increase your stuff for your score to be higher. Credit mix has to do with a lot of different things. It's miscellaneous that affects 10% in new credit. So anytime you apply for new things, like make sure that when you guys are applying for things, because a lot of people apply for like credit cards, they apply for homes, they apply for cars, and those are different types of hits that as I was telling you last session as well, those are different type of hits that can affect your credit score. Now I do want to clarify, because people get pre-qualified. If you look at the details, most pre-qualifications will let you know that those pre-qualifications will not affect your credit score. They will not affect your credit score, but once you do actually apply, whatever you apply to will affect the credit score, because I know different apartments will give you pre-qualifications on your social security number. Different card places will give you pre-qualifications, but until you apply for that specific apartment or that specific car, it will not affect your credit score. But that's only for specific ones, so when you are applying, make sure you are reading the fine print, you are reading the detail of what you are applying for and how it's going to affect you. All right. So now we're going to go into building credit. So the best way to build and rebuild your credit. So building credit, make on-time payments monthly. Building credit is basically making on-time monthly payments on an installment loan or a credit card reported to at least one credit agency. Or those can also be secured cards, can be also an easy way to build credit. So when you want to build credit, like I said, you find somewhere, you make the payments, it shows them that you can keep up with stuff, that people loan you, it will raise your credit score. That's when you're starting at no credit. Like if you've never had credit before, I would say just get one card, or get, like they said, one installment loan and make that over a certain time and your credit score will raise. So, and this will it will allow your score to start building. It will also give you more opportunities for the future to build your credit. When rebuilding your credit, the easiest way is to get a secured card. So a secured card is basically for people with limited or no formal credit history, as I was stating earlier. It requires a cash deposit to secure the line of credit. So for instance, an unsecured card is someone giving me a card with a certain amount that I can spend on it. And then at that end of that month, I need to pay that down. A secured card is someone giving me a card. However, in order for me to use that card, I have to load that card with cash, with my own cash. And I have to load that card up anytime I want to use that card. So it's basically me spending my own money, but I'm giving someone else my money to spend it. So it is more, and the reason why people do that is because it allows you to get a credit card and rebuild your credit with your own money, because some people will still not lend to you if you have terrible credit. And that reports to credit agencies as well, which is why it's different from a bank card, because bank cards don't report to credit agencies. So if, say, people are like, well, why can't I just use a debit card then? Well, your debit card doesn't report to a credit agency unless you have a negative account, which would have closed the account, so you wouldn't have a debit card. So your credit card, a secure credit card, however, allows you to spend your own money and still report to a agency, which is a great thing. It's a great option for people who want to build and rebuild. All right. In order to have to not rebuild your credit, you want to make sure that you are managing your credit wisely. And how do we do that? So, the main thing to managing your credit wisely is knowing exactly what it is you are paying for, and that's knowing your interest rates, the fees, the terms of your credit cards and loans. There's a lot of things that we sign up and we are unaware of. And some people can mess themselves up because some people, like, for instance, if you are unaware of if you're unaware of a credit card and some credit cards give you penalties for paying off loans, or no, some loans give you penalties for paying it off early. So some people like to pay off a loan early. They'll get a loan and try to pay it off early so they don't have to pay as much interest. Well, some loans are created for you to pay a certain amount of interest. So if you do pay it off early, sometimes you have to pay even higher interest than you would have paid if you didn't. But it's all in the terms and conditions. So it's very, 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 very important when you're managing your credit that you do know the ins and outs of your interest rate, how much you're going to be charged for interest, because a lot of people get a loan and not know how much the interest rate of that loan is. And sometimes you're paying more than the actual loan in interest when it's all said and done. So make sure you are definitely looking into that as well. Your terms, and make sure you are looking at the terms of your credit cards and loans. Pay consistently. If you need help with doing that, set alarms. You can have a monthly reoccurring alarm to make sure that you're paying your bills on time. Don't max your cards out. As I was stating earlier, stay between 30% and below. Use free credit monitoring apps. That's the only way you're going to manage your credit wisely, to see what it is hitting your account, what's not hitting your account, what charges are being made, and how it's affecting your credit. Review your reports annually. Like I said, I review mine monthly. However it is that you do, you should at least be reviewing it at least once a year to make sure that everything is correct and no one is not using your information, or that stuff just hasn't been incorrectly entered. Always dispute errors and inaccuracies. So if you are reviewing your report and you're monitoring your stuff, you'll be able to catch the errors and inaccuracies and make sure that you are disputing them, because sometimes they will not be caught on their own and you need to dispute them to get them off of your score so it does not affect you. Don't open more accounts than needed. There's no need to have 10 credit cards if you don't need it. There's no need to have 3 credit cards if you only need 1. There's no need to have any excessive responsibilities that you don't need. Pay it off or it's down. Pay off your credit or your debt as much as you can, or pay as much down as you can. I know everybody can't afford to do that, so what I'm telling you is do what you can afford to do. I do want to double back really quick when I was telling you, like, to make sure that you are reading your ins and outs of your interest rates and things. So this basically is a chart. It's the value of paying more than the minimum. The original balance is $2,500 for each. Everything across is the same. The only thing that changes is the total years of payoff. The credit card interest rate is 18% for each credit card. And so that's when I say pay as much down. So the minimum payment is the same for each one. On the second line, they increased their minimum payment with $24. On the third line, they increased their minimum payment with $41. So with a balance of $2,500 at an 18% credit card rate, and with a payoff of 23 years, the interest is $5,363, which means they will wind up, you add that to the $2,500, which is the initial balance that was borrowed, they're going to end up paying $7,863 back. On the second line, with the $2,500 balance, $2,500 loan, at an 18% rate, they pay that off in 4 years. That dropped their interest by almost $4,000. yeah, it definitely dropped it by $4,000. So they're only going to end up paying $1,025. You add that to the initial $2,500 borrowed, they're only paying $3,525. That extra $24 a month drop them. It saved them $4,000. So if you go to the bottom where it was a $2,500 initial loan balance with the 18% interest rate, with the repayment of the minimum payment with $41 on $41 extra on top of the minimum payment, it takes them 3 years to pay that off. Their interest rate is $754. So that has dropped another $300 from just adding an extra $15, $16, well, adding an extra $17 to the payment. So if you add the $754 to the $2,500, they're only going to wind up paying $3,254. So it really saved them another $300. So if you see the more that you pay, the less they're paying in interest. And like I was saying earlier, however, make sure that when you are signing that loan that you signed is not going to penalize you for paying it off extra, because every loan does not do that. But if it doesn't, the more money you pay, the less interest you will have, the quicker it is. You pay it off, the less interest you'll have, the more money you come out. So by paying an extra $41 a month, they save themselves $4,600. So keep that in mind when you guys are doing loans. And like I said, I know everyone cannot afford to pay extra, but if you can, keep it in mind. Like if you can save going out to the club, getting your hair done, getting your nails done, if you can go ahead and take a week off of that or a month off of that and add that to your funds, you could be saving yourself thousands of dollars in the end. All right, and so we're going to continue with the managing credit wisely. Understand, if you guys are going to co-sign, you need to understand the risk of co-signing. If you are co-signing, you are taking full responsibility of that loan as well. So if that person who's the original signer does not pay their bills, they're going to come after you, and legally they have the right to, because you have co-signed your social security numbers on there. So now your credit will be affected. They will be able to garnish things. They will be able to, you have now incurred someone else's debt. So make sure that you trust that person. Make sure that is a responsible person. It's more than trusting that person, because we trust a lot of people. Make sure that is a responsible person and that they can pay their stuff. 9 times out of 10, if someone needs a co-signer, it's either because they have no credit, period, or they have bad credit. And if someone has bad credit, you should also take that into consideration when co-signing, because you do not want someone to ruin your credit due to you already knowing how they are. So if you're having difficulties with managing your credit, contact your creditors. There's always someone there that will be able to talk to you and help you with your personal situation specific for you. Get help from accredited nonprofit consumer credit counseling services. There's plenty of people that are nonprofits out there that are organizations set in place to help people with issues in regards to their credit, in regards to helping fix things, and in regards to working things out and building it up. Be very, very careful of companies that will fix your credit for a fee. There's plenty of companies out there like, oh, give me $600, I'll fix your credit. Give me $700, I'll fix your credit. Those are great companies, not to knock them. They're great companies, they're great entrepreneurial companies, and if you are able to do that, keep up the great work. However, there are companies that are out there that are free that you can utilize. You may have to look it up. Just make sure that they are an accredited company. Wherever you go, make sure it's an accredited place or organization, because fixing credit can be very risky. If you have to give yourself, it involves all your personal information as far as social security numbers, addresses, everything. So if you let that slip into the wrong hands by not doing proper research, it can turn out worse than it began. And last but not least, we're going to avoid credit card fraud. That is another way that can ruin your credit outside of your means. So in order to make sure that does not happen and you are not affected by credit card fraud, Report any lost or stolen card immediately. The moment that you notice the card is going, report it. I know a lot of cards have abilities to lock them, so if you are able to, excuse me, and you're unsure if you misplaced the card or if you left the card in a wallet, a different purse, a different jacket, a different pants, lock the card immediately. If you don't have access to an app, look up a 1-800 number, call the people, and they may be able to lock the card. If they cannot lock the card, shut it down, get a new one ordered. You may be out of service, you may be out of inconvenience for a couple of days. However, you will be a lot more happier, safe than sorry, because it's a lot easier to order a card than it is to have to dispute fraud transactions. Keep your personal information and credit cards safe. You should not be leaving that out for people that you do not trust. It should not be out for anyone to find. And like I said, some people we trust that we should not trust. So just make sure that your stuff is locked up and it is safe, where only you know where it's at. Shred all confidential documents. Anything that comes with account numbers, names, addresses, home addresses, social security numbers, anything, even if you think like, oh, well, nobody will know what this account number is, they have to have my information. A lot of people may know where it is, they may have your information, you don't know who has your information. Shred anything with an account number on it, anything with an address, anything that attaches your name, anything that definitely attaches your social security card. Don't just rip it up. People go through trash, take things together. You'll be amazed how quick the lengths people will go to commit credit card fraud or to commit identity theft. People do it every day. It's not uncommon. Shred your stuff. If you do not have a shredder, find somewhere with a shredder. And if you don't even have that, I like to take scissors, and if it's a number, I will cut each number individually off of the piece of paper. I don't even leave 4 numbers on. I will cut the numbers in half and then cut them individually. If it's a credit card, I cut that credit card up, even if they shut it down. I cut the cross with the numbers, I cut across on the name, I cut it individually into strips, and I disperse them into different trash cans. That might be doing a lot, but like I said, I'd rather be safe than sorry. Keep your passwords and your personal identification numbers secure. So a personal identification number is a PIN that you have to any bank card or anything. Make sure that those are safe and secure, that no one knows what they are. Try to change them often. Try not to use the date of birth. Try not to use the last 4 of your social. Try not to use the home address. Try not to use anything that people can easily attach to you as a PIN, because it's easily, those are the first things people are going to think of. Beware of phishing. Phishing is different tactics people use on the internet to scam you as well. So know the tactics commonly used by posers. Be safe with online shopping. There's people all day that will call you. For instance, I've been scammed trying to call customer service numbers. Don't go to Google and just look up a customer service number. If you're not on the web, if that does not take you to the official website, do not call that number. There's a lot of numbers out here. There's a lot of scammers out here that will actually place numbers, that will change numbers and put it down for you to contact them, for them to get your information to scam you. So make sure that the websites that you are calling, if you are disputing anything or if you are speaking with anyone customer service period, that they are official numbers. And like I was stating earlier, as I keep stating, review your bank and credit card statements. That's very, very, very important. That is one of the only ways you're going to be able to catch something. I don't have that much money, so I know when things are missing. I know when things are being charged on my account. Where other people have the luxury of a couple $100 missing, they may not notice. A couple $1,000 missing, they may not notice. So that is why it's very important to check, like, hey, I didn't make this purchase, I didn't make that purchase. Or if they have money coming in and money going out, people don't notice. So you just have to be very, very clear on what you are charging and what you aren't charging. And that is our lesson on budgeting for today. That's ending our budgeting out. And this is part 2, and we will see you guys later.